Coco Gauff is taking her career in a new direction, leaving Roger Federer's Team 8 and joining up with entertainment moguls WME. And she has launched Coco Gauff Enterprises.
When I think about the trailblazers that came before me, I would like my legacy to be defined as someone who was obviously a great tennis player, but also someone who put just as much effort and work into her on-court things as I want to do off-court. I feel like being outspoken and caring about topics and being vocal about certain topics is kind of what raised me and who I am. My grandmother was in a way an activist, and I think for me that this inspired me to be a more than an athlete and someone who kind of covered all parts of life, because I don't want to be boxed in as an athlete because tennis is what I do, but it's not who I am. And I think that's what my legacy I would like for it to be.
There's something happening around Coco Gauff that even her biggest fans haven't fully understood yet. It goes far beyond trophies, rankings, or highlight reels. It's a shift, subtle, powerful, and carefully built, that turned a young tennis star into one of the most influential marketing forces of her generation. And the most fascinating part? Coco didn't wait for the world to crown her. She engineered this rise long before everyone realized what was going on. Before the world labeled her a superstar, brands quietly saw something different. Coco wasn't just talented, she had presence. Even as a teenager, executives noticed the rare spark. She didn't freeze under pressure, she didn't crumble under attention, and she didn't need to learn how to communicate. She just had it. Behind closed doors, marketing teams whispered that she was commercial gold, long before her first major breakthrough.
Yeah, so the extension with me kind of started in the whole campaign with the doubters. It obviously started with my speech at US Open where I mentioned, allowing doubters to fuel me to do better. And I kind of realized that a lot of things that are told to small business owners are also things that are told to athletes and me specifically, whereas I've heard a lot that I'm too young, or that I should just focus on tennis, or you shouldn't do multiple things at once.
Rumors even circulated that several companies tried to sign her before she won the US Open, believing she would explode in popularity sooner rather than later. And they were right. While fans were celebrating her victories, brands were preparing to build an empire around her name. They saw something in her that hadn't been seen in women's tennis since the early days of Serena: global reach, cultural impact, and a magnetic authenticity that couldn't be manufactured. But that was only the beginning, because what came next proved that Coco Gauff wasn't just entering the spotlight. She was about to own it. New Balance was the first company to truly understand the magnitude of Coco's appeal. They took a gamble, yes, but it wasn't blind faith. They saw her natural charisma, her ability to connect instantly with a camera, and her total absence of awkwardness, something rare for any teenager under a global spotlight. The moment Coco stepped into her first promotional appearance.
No, actually everyone around me was on board with it because I'm physically, I know I could handle it. I think it was more just on the mental side, being there a lot of times, mentally being on the site all the time could be tiring. But, they were really encouraging because they knew it was something I wanted to do, and I was I mean, I'm young now, but I know eventually, I'm not going to be able to be playing doubles and singles and all of that. So I was I'm going to take advantage of it.
It became clear she wasn't acting. She was just being Coco, and viewers couldn't get enough. The We Got Now campaign changed everything. What seemed like a simple ad suddenly blew up everywhere: TikTok, Instagram, X, and countless sports pages. Clips went viral. Memes popped up overnight. Fan edits multiplied, and the reactions? Pure admiration. People weren't just watching the commercial, they were studying it. The pause before she delivered a line, the calm confidence in her smirk, the way she handled the racket like it was an extension of herself. Even marketing analysts were shocked. According to internal engagement reports, her campaign performed exponentially better than standard athlete endorsements. Some insiders claimed that her numbers rivaled, and in some cases surpassed, seasoned sports icons.
Coco for the cover of Time magazine, why the tennis star is playing for herself now. After bagging up $23 million last year and winning the U.S. Open, I think she's the first American teen to do so since the Venus and Serena days. But y'all can check me on that. I don't got all my tennis facts on deck like I used to. The shoot is one of my favorites of Coco so far because she is really serving, no pun intended. All of the poses, her eye contact with the camera, everything about this shoot is definitely giving Vogue, not necessarily Time magazine.
Coco didn't just promote a product. She turned a 15-second commercial into a cultural moment. And that moment opened the door to a new level of opportunity. Because once she proved she could dominate screens, every major brand wanted her. After New Balance, the industry shifted. Coco wasn't just another rising star anymore. She became a marketing strategy. Barilla came next, and at first it confused people. Pasta and tennis? It sounded unusual. But that was the genius of it. Barilla built the entire Serving Love campaign around Coco's lifestyle, her nutrition, recovery habits, hydration routines, and the behind-the-scenes aspects fans rarely see. Suddenly, every dish she made, every snack she ate, every small routine she shared felt Coco approved. The result? Packaging with her face sold out in days. Stores had to restock constantly. Engagement around the brand skyrocketed. Then came Rolex, symbol of legacy, timelessness, and classic athletes. American Express followed, pulling her into the world of financial identity and aspirational storytelling. Each partnership wasn't random, it was chess. Brands weren't just using her image, they were aligning themselves with her values, her energy, and her cultural moment. And fans noticed. Social media exploded with clips of her campaigns. Even people who didn't follow tennis suddenly knew who Coco Gauff was. She wasn't endorsing products anymore. She was shaping a lifestyle. And that lifestyle was selling. But the biggest power move of her career was still coming. Very few athletes, especially women, especially young ones, get a signature shoe early in their career. It's a milestone reserved for global icons. Coco got hers, the CG1. Not just a collab, not just a special edition, a full signature line. And here's the twist. She wasn't just modeling it, she co-created it. Colors, structure, design language, Coco shaped it all. Rumors say she rejected the first prototypes because they didn't feel authentic enough. She wanted a shoe that reflected who she was, not a generic design with her name slapped on it. When the logo dropped, reactions were mixed. Some called it simple. But simplicity was exactly what made it brilliant. It worked on sneakers, shirts, hoodies, bags, everything. Very quickly, it stopped looking simple and started looking iconic. Sneaker analysts estimated tens of millions in potential sales. Let that sink in. A women's tennis player, barely past her teens, projected to generate numbers that entire sports categories struggled to reach. The CG1 didn't just sell, it created a new benchmark. And from that moment forward, Coco wasn't just a player. She became a brand architect. But there was one thing she didn't expect: the numbers that came after. After her US Open win, Coco's social media didn't just grow, it detonated. Thousands of followers per week. Engagement jumping beyond anything seen for her age group. Interactions doubling, then tripling. Her name trending repeatedly across platforms. Compared to other rising tennis stars, the difference was shocking. Some athletes have elite skills, some have charisma. Some have endorsements. But Coco? She had all three, and she turned the combination into momentum no one else could match. Her campaigns didn't just reach people, they converted. Fans weren't only watching, they were buying, sharing, hyping, and reacting. She turned casual viewers into loyal supporters and customers. Marketing experts began calling her the first of a new generation, an athlete-influencer hybrid who could dominate sports and culture simultaneously. But while the world was praising her, another layer of pressure was forming around her success. With fame comes weight, and Coco felt it, quietly, subtly behind the scenes. Critics began saying she was focusing too much on marketing. Others speculated that brands demanded more appearances than what was ideal for her schedule. Some questioned whether she could sustain this level of attention without burning out. No scandals, no chaos. Just the silent, constant pressure of being a young athlete, carrying the expectations of fans, sponsors, and the entire sport. Industry insiders whispered that she was being positioned as the future official face of the WTA. That's a heavy crown, and she was still only at the beginning. Yet she handled it all with a calm that stunned people. Authentic, unforced, steady. A reminder that behind the endorsements and glamour, she was still the girl from Delray Beach, now navigating a far bigger world. And instead of slowing down, she kept rising. This is where the story becomes bigger than tennis. Coco is now used as a case study inside marketing agencies, design teams, and boardrooms. Brands analyze what makes her campaigns work. Executives reference her during presentations. Social strategists break down her engagement patterns because Coco does what very few athletes can do. She moves culture. Her influence extends to fashion, youth lifestyle, sports identity, and even digital trends. She's appearing in Forbes lists. She's treated as a long-term investment by brands. Her presence alone can shift sales trends. And when you compare her to peers, the contrast is undeniable. Most athletes stay within their lane. Coco widened hers and created her own. The formula? Talent, vision, authenticity, and timing. It's the rare combination that turns athletes into icons. Most athletes can play. A few can charm. Only a handful can do both. But Coco Gauff, she does all that while building a brand powerful enough to influence the entire sports industry. And this is just the beginning. Every sponsorship she signs pushes her further into global relevance. Every campaign she releases sets new marketing standards. Every victory, every speech, every post accelerates her growth. Rumors are already swirling about major fashion houses eyeing her for upcoming collaborations. Some say she might be the next athlete to cross over into luxury markets. Others believe she's on track to become one of the highest-earning sportswomen of her era. What's clear is this: Coco isn't waiting for the world to catch up. She's creating her own lane, and everyone else is trying to keep up. Talent made her a star. Authenticity made her loved. Strategy made her unstoppable. And if she's accomplished all this before turning 21, just imagine what she'll do next.